Title: My Brother's Wedding. Seemed perfect until my wife whispered, "We have to leave. Now." When I asked why, she said, "I'll explain in the car." In the silence of the drive home, she finally said, "You really didn't notice?" The real purpose of that wedding was... Chapter 1. The Celebration. It was a warm spring afternoon, and the garden was immaculate. White orchids draped from the archway, a string quartet played softly, and laughter echoed as guests clinked champagne flutes under the sun. My younger brother, Daniel, stood at the altar in a tailored navy suit, beaming like he had just won the lottery. And in a way, he had. He was marrying Vanessa, the daughter of a prominent family, the kind with a wine cellar bigger than my apartment, and a last name that turned heads in every country club across the state. I was his best man, and I was proud, until I wasn't. My wife, Lily, looked tense all day. Her usual easy smile never came, and every toast, every glance exchanged around the room made her grip my hand tighter. I chalked it up to her not liking Vanessa. The two had always been distant. But as we reached the reception and the slow dance began, she leaned in close, her breath hot and sharp against my ear. "We have to leave, now." I blinked. "What? Why? They're about to cut the cake." She didn't answer, just grabbed her purse and whispered with unmistakable urgency, "I'll explain in the car." Chapter 2. The Drive. The silence in the car was deafening. I drove while Lily stared straight ahead, wringing her fingers. I was still in my tux, bow tie undone. My mind reeled with confusion. "Lily," I said finally, "what is going on?" She didn't speak. Not until we were halfway home, headlights passing over her pale face, her jaw clenched. Then softly she said, "You really didn't notice?" I frowned. "Notice what?" She turned to me, eyes glassy. "That wasn't a wedding, Jake. That was a trap." My grip tightened on the wheel. "What the hell are you talking about? Your brother didn't just get married. He just finalized his deal to destroy you." Chapter 3. The Silent Betrayal. I pulled into our driveway, heart hammering, brain scrambling to make sense of her words. "Destroy me?" I repeated. "Daniel? He's my brother." Lily unbuckled her seatbelt with a shaky hand. "He was, but not anymore." We stepped inside the house. The second the door closed, she grabbed her phone, scrolled, and handed it to me. My eyes fell on an email thread. At the top was Daniel's name. Subject: Shareholder Transfer Agreement, Final Draft, Attachment, our company's equity contract. I froze. Daniel and I co-owned a rapidly growing logistics startup, 50-50 split from the beginning, blood and sweat. Every warehouse, every client, every innovation, we'd built it together. But as I scrolled, my stomach dropped. The thread revealed Daniel had quietly begun transferring his shares he could only get full control of if I was out, due to ethical violation or contract breach. There was a clause I'd forgotten. If one partner is deemed compromised by fraud, misconduct, or moral failings, they forfeit their stake. That wedding, Lily whispered, was a performance, a celebration of your downfall. Chapter 4. What my wife saw. Lily explained it all in one breathless rush. While I was giving my best man speech, she'd noticed several men in suits not mingling, just watching. Not family, not friends. She followed one of them to the back terrace during cocktail hour. Heard him on the phone talking to a lawyer. Yeah, once the press release goes out and Jake's name is tied to the scandal, we move his shares into Daniel's holding company. No, he won't know what hit him. Vanessa made sure of that. Vanessa, Daniel's new bride. Lily pieced it together faster than I could. Vanessa worked in corporate law, a firm infamous for hostile takeovers. She was the architect of the setup. And Daniel, he'd sold out his own brother. For money, for power, for her. Jake, they're about to pin something on you. I don't know what. Fraud, abuse, maybe an affair. But they're launching it this week. That wedding wasn't just about love. It was about appearances, about credibility, about leverage. I sat there stunned, the weight of betrayal collapsing onto my chest. They were going to destroy me, but I wasn't going to let them. Not quietly. Chapter 5. Quiet moves, loud consequences. The next morning, I didn't go to the office. I didn't call Daniel. I didn't scream or rage or send threats. Instead, I brewed a pot of black coffee, sat at the kitchen table, and quietly opened my laptop. My hands no longer trembled. I was done being blindsided. They wanted war. They were going to get strategy. Over the years, I'd built layers into the business. I had quietly established backup admin rights on our digital systems. Our security architecture, email, server access, proprietary logistics code had my fingerprints all over it. And here's what Daniel hadn't realized. I still held the kill switch. I logged into our database, then into our cloud management console. Vanessa's firm had begun redirecting back-end code to a private off-site server, probably to clone our operations. Rookie mistake. I rewired everything in silent stealth mode. Then, I downloaded all audit logs, including the metadata that proved unauthorized access, breach of partnership agreement, and intellectual property theft, timed perfectly with the wedding. Next, I opened a separate encrypted folder, the one only I knew existed, the one I'd created years ago out of sheer paranoia, filled with Daniel's recklessness. Deleted Slack messages of him bullying junior developers, voice memos of his drunken rants about hiding money offshore. A time-stamped video of him signing a deal with a logistics supplier we both vetoed. For a secret commission, it had all seemed too petty to act on at the time. Now, it was fuel. Chapter 6. Strike before the ceremony. Ends. Lily and I worked together like a unit. She was brilliant in crisis, handling all the PR pieces, reaching out to the right journalists anonymously, leaking select snippets of Daniel's misconduct. I contacted my lawyer and told him to prepare for emergency arbitration. I had no plans to beg or delay. I wanted a clean kill. At noon, Daniel called me, probably to smooth things over. I didn't pick up. He called again. Then Vanessa emailed, "Jake, I believe there's been some confusion. Let's discuss amicable dissolution of your stake." I didn't reply. Instead, I scheduled the company-wide board meeting for 9 a.m. the next day. No warning. I also added a new guest to the attendee list. Special Agent Martin Reyes, Federal Business Crime Division. I knew Vanessa's firm had likely cut legal corners, and Daniel had definitely doctored internal documents. Badly. This was no longer a family feud. This was fraud. Chapter 7. The Boardroom Ambush. At exactly 8:58 a.m., I walked into the sleek, glass-paneled conference room of our corporate headquarters. Daniel was already there, arms crossed, smug smile in place, dressed like a man who thought he owned the world. Vanessa sat beside him, radiating icy confidence, flipping through a leather binder as if this was just another client takedown. Around the table sat our investors, our department heads, and at the far end, Agent Martin Reyes. No one had greeted him. No one had dared ask why he was here. Until now. "Jake," Daniel drawled, "this really could have been avoided. You've been emotional lately. Distracted. And with your deployments and stress, maybe this is a good thing." I didn't respond. Instead, I opened a black folder and slid it to the center of the table. Let's begin. The folder contained printed emails, access logs, surveillance timestamps, and a notarized timeline. It wasn't just damning. It was a precision airstrike. Then came the flash drive. I plugged it into the screen at the head of the table. First clip? Daniel at a bar with a shady supplier, slurring, "Jake doesn't even know I skimmed half the margin. It's our secret." Next, Vanessa's audio from the wedding terrace. "Once the press sees the abuse story, he's done. We take the company by Tuesday." The room fell silent. Vanessa stiffened. Daniel's mouth opened, but no words came. Agent Reyes stood slowly. "Mr. Daniel Carter and Ms. Vanessa Hale, you are now persons of interest in an active federal investigation regarding corporate fraud, evidence tampering, and conspiracy to commit economic sabotage." The board members looked as if someone had cut the oxygen in the room. Daniel tried to laugh, a weak, choking sound. "You're bluffing." Reyes held up a warrant. "You'll speak through counsel from here on out." Then he nodded toward the door. 2 agents entered and escorted Daniel and Vanessa out in stunned silence. The same cocky brother who toasted to legacy and loyalty at his wedding was now white as chalk, his empire cracking beneath him. Chapter 8. Rebuilding from Ashes. In the days that followed, my phone didn't stop buzzing. News of the scandal hit the business press first, then leaked into mainstream media. Vanessa's firm disavowed her within hours. Daniel's reputation was shredded. Our investors issued a formal apology to me. The board voted unanimously to remove Daniel permanently and offered to restructure the company, with me as sole CEO. But that wasn't all. I visited my parents. When they opened the door, their faces were tight, unsure of which son to believe. So I handed them a manila envelope, evidence, truth, silence, and then I walked away. I didn't need their validation anymore. Lily and I took a quiet vacation a month later, just the 2 of us. No weddings, no cameras, no betrayal, just peace. On the flight back, she leaned her head on my shoulder and whispered, "You could have destroyed him with rage, but you chose to dismantle him with calm." I smiled, because rage burns fast, but revenge, real revenge, is cold and permanent. Epilogue. Daniel was disbarred from any future board positions. Vanessa lost her license. I donated their wedding venue deposit, $30,000, to a veterans family relief fund, anonymously. And my company? We rebranded. We grew. We thrived. Because I wasn't just the brother he betrayed. I was the storm he never saw coming. Was this revenge perfectly justified? Tell us what you would have done in the comments below. Like the story, share it with someone who needs this energy, and subscribe to Lauren's Story for more jaw-dropping tales of betrayal and justice. Because here, every lie has its reckoning, and every betrayal finds its shadow. Stay sharp, stay strong, and stay tuned.